see a lot of interest. This seems like this summer, spring, summer, and fall, we have a lot of fires down in this area. Now things are getting drier and windy. So thanks so much for coming tonight. Thanks, Miranda, for getting us set up here. Thanks for having the ranch. Most of you probably know Chief Robert Trotter from High Country Fire and Rescue. I'm Greg Rush from 2CN Fire District. This is John Valle, our fire board chairman. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. A lot of this is just kind of share stuff that I hear people have questions about. And ultimately, we want to try to make this town and folks like Miranda and all of you that don't want to make it safe here, just want to make it safer and make it make things more. I don't know. You don't have to worry. Sleep at night. So I'm gonna run through these real quick. We're up at the Grand Canyon. We're a fire district. It's kind of a weird entity. A lot of people don't know departments like under a city, municipal like Flagstaff Fire. We're a fire district. Our boundaries are within the town of Tucson. Another place like that is Sedona. So they have the Sedona Fire District. It's not part of the city per se. It's separate. We get our revenue from property taxes up there, and it's a small community of people that live there. You know, that's a lot of money coming out of their pocket. But we are separate from the town. I have to give a shout out to the town of Tucson. Over the last 8 years, they've supplemented a major part of the money coming into the Tucson Fire District. We wouldn't be operating at the level we are. We had 3 full-time people before they started doing that. Now we're at 10, kind of like what we expect in bigger town. So High Country Fire and Rescue, Chief Trotter, you're equidistant from both our departments, about 20-21 miles. And that's a lot of time when you're driving back and forth. A lot of folks, this is kind of new to me, 2CN has about 550 permanent residents, of course thousands of visitors, but you guys here in Valle have about 800 according to the Census Bureau, and you kind of think it might even be higher. So you're actually a bigger town than we are in Tucson for residents. We expect, like say if we had to come to this building on a fire call or a medical, you know, we're looking at about roughly 30 minutes. There's times that 2CN Fire, we've had hour-long response times going as fast as we can down the roads. I remember it was on the east side, we had a residence fire. Saved the structure, oddly, but sometimes our responses are up to an hour. We do everything we can to be quick, but you know, we're out of the station in a minute or two, but it's hard. And of course, you got the traffic on the highway, especially at night. You know, winter is a big problem, and then the dirt roads. I know very much how expensive it is to maintain the roads. A lot of the equipment we have, we can take off the road, but you get a lot of damage doing that, unfortunately. Back when Tucson Fire District started, the population out there was a lot lower. I've been here 20 years, and I'm amazed at how much it's grown. And that's all kind of an impact of why we're meeting tonight. Some of the background at Tucson Fire, you know, every fire district, nobody has more money than they know what to do with. And we've got actually 3 fire engines that pump. One of them's a ladder. It's the only one short of Flagstaff. But it does not leave Tucson or Grand Canyon Village. It's purely for there. It's just such a beast, and it's 32 years old that we don't take it down there. But we do have a wildland engine that is in the shop tonight. And then we have our brand new fire engine that the town of Tucson generously supplied us with, which is a game changer. We've had that for about a year. And it's a brand new engine, first one we've had like that in 20 years. And it's great, but that just means like right now, we've only got one engine that could come down here. So if something gets damaged on it, like we've had a couple of damages just in the last couple of months, that it was out of service. So like tonight we wish we had 2 on for down here. The biggest thing about all this, and I'm going to turn it over to Chief in a few minutes. I'm going to babble for a little bit longer, but it's all about time. I know that there's fears about the expense of running a fire department or district, or doing a brigade here locally, things like that, but it all comes down to time. And the reason I'm telling you about all this with the district, 2CN Fire comes down here, High Country comes up here, kind of in the middle. It's not really in our response areas right now officially, and I know there's subscriptions here for High Country, but we just want to cover people. Like, we don't want anybody to die because, you know, you don't have somebody quickly available. So we try to hustle down here. You guys are our sister community, brother community, but it's like way out on the edge. I don't want to say no man's land, but it's you know, the tips of where we respond to kind of overlap here, because we want to help folks out. And that's the bottom line. And when I talk about time, I just want you to think about something. I don't want to panic everybody, but if you or a spouse has a heart attack, they always say about 1% of your heart tissue dies, 1% every 1 minute. That's why I always talk about the golden hour where we get people in the ambulance into the hospital or on a helicopter, because it's permanent. And we want to make those responses as quick as we can. We're hoping at some point, you know, we can all be part of the solution there. The other thing is on fires, especially out here where we've got the wind. Depends what magazine you read, but a house fire doubles about every 5 or 10 minutes. So you know, if we take 28 minutes to get here, you probably lost the structure, which is horrible. Besides the life danger, you know, pets, and then your neighbors, and you know how it is with fire spreading through the grasses here. So just in simplest terms, it's time. We take so long to get down here or up here, even with our best effort. So we don't at TFD we're not running a ton of calls. We run about on average 1 a day. About a third of our calls from TCN are here to Valle, and it's kind of like Woodlands Ranch down here, a little bit to the east, a little bit to the south. Unfortunately, there's been times where we've had things like double cardiac calls. I've been on a couple of those. Two times it's happened where we were here in Valle. One time there were 2 calls in Valle for cardiac, the same, within 2 minutes they called in. And then we had one in TCN and one down here. We were already down here for it. We also had a plane crash in TCN where everyone was fine, but the parachute company had crash land on the highway at the roundabout. So we were down here on another medical. It was a serious call. So you can never forecast when you're going to have the double calls, but it happens. So as you know, kind of the moral of this is, as Valle is growing, you know, we worry about more and more of that. We don't want to have anybody die because we're short of resources. Getting through it here. At TFD, we're blessed with the town's assistance. We've got 10 full-time people, which is great. We've grown a lot over the last 10 years. We've tripled in size. And I can tell you more about some of that stuff later, but we're doing pretty good with the funds that are available. And it's hard to add any more positions. We're kind of running a little lean right now to do what we do. We've had at least 3 pieces of our fire engines, we call them apparatus. We've had damage in 3 different ways of going down the dirt roads. And you know, you guys know how it is better than me, but bedrock, or trying to drive through a puddle that's, you know, 1/10 of a mile long, and you're trying to get through it quickly so you don't bog down. And then we bent a rim on our wildland attack 2 weeks ago. And I let Miranda know, and I posted it online too, that just keep in mind our equipment's, we've got a 32-year-old ladder truck, a 24-year-old wildland engine, that's the one that's out tonight, and then a 1-year-old pumper. So, you know, our equipment, you know, we try to do the best we can with the money, but we're constantly repairing them, and the dirt roads are really tough on it. No brainer, you guys know that. Yeah, they have come up. One thing too, a lot of folks don't know is if we got one of our fire engines stuck in the mud, like say a mile down the road, we'd have to call a heavy wrecker to get us unstuck. And I've always asked, like, I think Randall and I have talked about it, but to get an off-road fire engine, heavy wrecker, we'd be looking at, you know, 8,000, 10,000 or more, depending on where it is. But that's great, actually. I mean, it would hurt us so badly financially, but if it got stuck overnight, on a night like tonight, it would freeze all the fittings. I mean, there's some things we could do to try to get the water out, but then the pump would crack. So we could literally lose our fire engine and the town's protection, your protection, for months and, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. We're very frugal. We don't have the big city dispatching systems. Like in Flagstaff, you might have computer-aided graphics and they show you the house that's right here on the map, and it's just like you expect. We can't afford that $100,000, so I use that iPad. So every time I'm pulling out of the fire station on a fire call, I pull up the iPad, Google Earth, I'm looking up the address, because the county addressing doesn't really line up with everything. I'm sure you could all tell me stories about that. But you know, I literally use my phone, a Garmin GPS on the dash, the iPad, and I kind of take best 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3, and usually I can find it, but it's hard for us to find the houses. So just kind of some stuff from our side. You know, with the half hour and losing the structure, I live in a manufactured home, and it'd be down to the ground in, you know, 10 minutes. That's awful, that's terrible, people could die, also the other factor where the stuff gets spread, and I know everybody here thinks about that. And with the fires we had this summer, there's some close calls with it. And shout out to High Country, because they squashed the wildland fire on the one I'm thinking of while we dealt with the house. And the house was a total loss, but nobody got injured seriously, fortunately. I've heard some people say 2CN Fire doesn't want you guys to have a fire brigade or a fire district because we make it's an income generator, and it's really not. We don't even want to build down here for the calls that we come down, and we're happy to come down, but our expenses run pretty high on these. It's not just equipment wear and tear or the hourly rates. It's actually like things like foam that we use to stretch the wire because there's no water supply. So we use it's like soap. It foams up, and we could use like a third of the water that we normally use to put out a house fire. So it does cost us a lot. We could drop $400 or $500 on the phone on a single call. I hate to talk about money. I'm thinking about people's life safety or the property, but just for one response if 2CN Fire comes down here to assist Guardian or Lifeline, we charge $500, and that's what the rates are set up ahead of time. That's not for transportation. Just as a side note, like Guardian, if they transport it from across the street down to FMC, insurance probably, I can't guarantee it, it'll probably cover it, but it probably wouldn't cover the charge from TFD. We're sympathetic, but we do have to recoup costs to keep our doors open. Fire calls, it's about $1,000 to start. That's kind of the background that I've had a lot of questions about, but I wanted to say, and this is common sense to everybody, but just a request. The house numbering, and I know Miranda and I've talked about it a bit, but if folks could possibly, and I'm sure most of you have house numbers, but if anybody doesn't have house numbering, please do it. I was trying to look into bulk, buying like 100 number ones, number twos, and I could never find it online, and I haven't been able to do it like in Phoenix or something. But bottom line is it helps so much, because at night, again, broken equipment, one of our panable searchlight doesn't work right now, so we're hanging out the window with a flashlight trying to see a house number. So it's just tough. And I know not everybody wants a house number on their place, but
The bigger problem is the street signs.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. Thank
if
you.
you're at night, like look for the glowing flames.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at night, God helps us with those fires.
Yeah. It's like
we can always find those.
How do you get
But
there?
and actually, sometimes they'll burn down, and we're trying to keep it from spreading. And if it's over a rise, we still can't find it. But yeah, in broad daylight, you got that black column too that helps us pinpoint it. But there was a one medical I could think of I was on, and it was killing me. It was a cardiac. Seconds were counting. And it was a weird thing. It was off of 180, where you would think you'd go straight, and that's what GPS is saying, because it's thinking from 30 years ago. But I had to do like a complete like horseshoe to get there, and the seconds are counting. The person survived, but it was just maddening. So just stuff like that. I just recommend if you got something, maybe a solar powered red light you can flip on, when you're calling them or something. Like I said, GPS, it's a crapshoot. I literally do use 3 devices whenever I leave the station to try to find these places. If possible, and I know this isn't always an option, if you call 911, maybe stay on the phone line with the dispatcher. I know that's not always, and they probably want to get you off once they get the info, but give great directions if you can. Try to put something unique, maybe reflectors that we can see at night. We've had a lot of times we can't find the house. Here's one I was on. Our paramedic spent an hour looking for this house. They called 911. Their partner was having chest pain. It sounded like a real heart attack. And they get to the area and there's no house. So I've got the iPad and I'm like, well, there's a house up here. Anyway, spent an hour looking. Dispatch, 911 dispatch had the phone number and they're calling back, but we can go through it. And I know how it is at my own place. On the other side of my home, like I dropped the signal. So think about, try to stay on with them if you can. Think about where the cell signal's best in case they may call you back or we might direct it. But there's places where radio drops out, cell phone drops out, and some of the computer-aided dispatch equipment drops out. That we don't have a TFD, but ambulance service.
And give good directions.
Yeah.
Before an emergency happens, take the time to sit down and think about how you describe those directions. Write them down. So if you are in a panic, and because we've all been there, it's harder to be precise. That's the biggest thing, is when you're on the phone, give those good directions. Go ahead.
Does the 911 get your GPS coordinates from the phone?
Not necessarily.
What if we give you the GPS coordinates?
Absolutely, and I will tell you something, I don't wanna poo-poo a great idea that you got, but, if it's straightforward, sure, but if they're having trouble finding it, I recommend if you've got an iPhone, I don't know the equivalent on Android, but if you just do Compass, that pulls it up right then.
Yeah, it's right there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a great idea. We don't need every time, the reason I say it that way is we might not be able to slow down and punch them in, so it's best to get best street driving directions, please. It just,
Okay.
it's great when we get coordinates, but.
It's what you prefer, that's what I was asking, you know.
Good directions.
Good directions.
Prefer.
Okay.
But like say you break an ankle and you're half mile off a street address, absolutely. Or if dispatch calls you and they're like, hey, the driver can't find your place, could you send us? So NPS 911 dispatch now takes texts. I don't know if you do a screenshot and send it to it, but you can copy and paste the coordinates too. So just things to consider. All these are things to consider. Clear directions. And one good point, the 911 call center in the park. So you call 911 from here, and it's a crapshoot. I'm sure some of you call. It might bounce to county, and they do not know Valle. Then the dispatch office there in county and Flagstaff will take the info. They'll call dispatch in the park, who call us. And it's like the telephone game, and a lot of the info gets dropped off. So just be very clear with them and try to stay on the line if you can. They do a great job. I'm not, picking on them, but it is hard. And they have here in the park, they're taking law enforcement calls at the same time. So, they don't have time. I wish they did to pull up Google Earth and go, oh, okay, it's actually like a quarter mile down this road. So they don't do that. We're kind of on our own. So whether it's checking GPS or looking at a map. We're bouncing down the road, and it's really hard. So just consider all those
My
things.
experience with
Yeah.
law enforcement,
Yeah.
it was the park on the 911 call, and they
Yeah.
transferred me to the sheriff in
Got
Flagstaff.
bounced back. Okay.
Yeah. And the
Sorry.
sheriff didn't know anything. Sheriff's
Sure.
office didn't know any. They didn't transfer any information. They just transfer the call.
There's, besides the Grand Canyon PSAP Center, we've got Flat PD who dispatches for the county, that's the PSAP for the county. You have Williams PD, which is a PSAP center, and you have DPS, which is a PSAP center. It depends on what side of the tower you get, where you're located at. There's a possibility of going to 4 different PSAP centers, that's the 911 centers. So, if they get it at the Grand Canyon or at Williams PD or at DPS, they see that you're in the county, they're gonna send it up to Flag PD because they dispatch for the county, the sheriff's department. So, it's a crapshoot, it is. We did an experiment several years ago where, I don't know if everybody knows where 64 SB and Hoctor is.
Mhm.
We put a guy on each corner,
Hmm.
dialed 911 at the same time, and it went into 3 different locations. 2 went into Williams, 1 went to DPS, and then 1 went to the county. So it just depends on where you're at and what side of the cell tower.
Solar flares that day, and
Yeah.
it's very.
So you just gotta tell them, I'm in Valley, I'm having a medical, there's a fire. And they should, by statute, have to send it to the county,
Okay.
which is flat PD. That's in the 911 statute. Trust me, I've
Hmm.
battled this 911 system for years and years and years. But by statute, they're supposed to send it to the county, and then they'll go, oh, okay, it's in Valley, well, let's call Tucson, and let's call High Country Fire. And whoever gets the call first gets to go first.
Good example. We actually had one call, not picking on anybody, it's the way it goes, but we were having difficulty locating this party with an RV fire. It was in the woods, so you couldn't really see the column or anything. And by accident, so they give us coordinates, which slows us down. We're trying to do this quickly as we can, and get to the location, and they said, there's nothing near this cell tower. They'd inadvertently given us the cell tower physical location. the signal had gone through it, but the fire was like 2 miles away. And they're juggling things, and I'm not saying that to pick on them, it's just, you know, it is so confusing, and then the stuff slows us down without clear direction, so. I think staying on the line is a good one, but like you're describing, you could get bounced around. And at the end, I'm gonna tell you about, you know, we've got smart 911 and stuff like that, but that might help with some of this. Another thing is, folks in Valle have been really good lately about, you got an incident, a medical, whatever, that people are waiting at the front gate, and they're like, you know, come in here, so I'm sure you all have a flashlight by the front door, but if you have to call for a family member or yourself, especially in a medical, you know, if you can get out on the porch and shine the light. Something, and be careful though, as we're pulling it up, we usually, as we get off the highway, we kill the sirens, keep the overheads going, so you guys can tell where we are and other responders. But just be careful, we might not see it, because those are blinking and flashing. But just be safe. One thing, and I just put this out as a possibility, you know, these are all things to consider depending on the situation. There's no black and white answer for any of this. But what if you're down, say you're down 180 on the north side, 2 miles in, it's minor, more on the minor, not like a heart attack, stroke, bleeding out, but could you possibly drive to 180 and meet us there, the ambulance there? It not only saves us time looking for the residents when seconds count, but you're cutting time off the call too. So just something to consider. I've got these sheets, you can take a picture if you want, but I got some smart 911, Coconino emergency notifications, the ready, set, go, all that information up here. You can just take pictures of it. Going to get into 3 possibilities where we go from here. And Chief Trotter's really been working hard on this, but just wanted to throw these tidbits out before I turn it over. We've got an excellent training captain up in Tucson. His name is Captain Greg Lawrence. He's done 4 volunteer fire academies to date. And he's an excellent person. He does such a good job of doing the training. He has agreed, you know, knowing that we're going to have this meeting tonight, he's agreed in some form that we could do some of the training at TFD if folks ever want to get fire certified, or just to get working knowledge enough to put water on the fire. We don't want anybody to get hurt doing this stuff, but if at some point there's an entity here where people can spray water on the fire, like a house fire, or somebody's having chest pain, if there could be that quick intercession and those folks are here, that buys time for, you know, everybody.
I think that's important when you have non-professionals who may be closer to access the situation. I mean, we've got a water truck here.
Yeah.
We're not firefighters,
Right.
but if we have to roll it out and help a neighbor out,
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
certainly willing to do that, but we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
And I don't, right. I don't want to speak for Chief, but I think the spirit of both of us, both departments, is we want to do everything we can to help you guys, you know, whatever the next steps are. We're not just trying to go, good luck. We really want to help out, and training is one of those things, but you're absolutely right. It could be CPR classes, could be fire, could be some basic, you know, medical. There's also the college. That's not, you don't have to do that either, but all these options, we've got a lot of background working with folks. And our Captain Greg up there, I'm Greg also, but Captain Greg Lawrence he wants to help, the whole department does. And we just want to buy you those seconds or minutes and not have anybody die or lose their home or 2 other homes. So, and you know, everything's on the table. Yeah.
Another thing that I've been doing, and I find it to be helpful, because Randall and I were driving, I don't know, a few days ago, and we were in one of his trucks that has the radio, his radio in there.
Sure.
And we were listening to everybody coming to a fire that really wasn't a fire.
Oh, what was it?
They were burning trash.
Oh,
Remember that?
okay, sure.
What I do, and I've been doing, every time I burn trash, I call.
Thank you.
I do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
and
not
so
everyone does that.
You're
well,
right.
I think everybody
Right.
should be aware that all they have to do is call High Country and say, hey, this is so-and-so, I'm gonna be burning brush today.
Sure.
You know, cause I was
Let
thinking,
me ask
well,
you a
look at
question,
all,
Barbara.
look
Do
at
you
it.
call High Country? Because I've always called the Coconino Sheriff Department.
No,
Actually,
High Country that's
they-
gonna be sending out.
I don't know.
Either or, we'll get the phone call,
Yeah.
we'll log it down, we'll contact our dispatcher, then call.
So they both get the same information.
They call all
Yeah.
the PSAP centers just to let them know, hey,
Because you have, how many, in fact, we've had couple of, everybody,
Everybody,
you know, so
yeah.
now I go, well, look at all the resources that are going to nothing.
Right, thank you. Up at, closer to Tucson, somebody lets us know, we call the FAA tower.
Yeah.
But we call dispatch first, so let them know, and then sometimes they'll call the wings office too. So that is awesome, thank you for sharing that. Hey, while you mentioned that, you know, there was a big fire a few years ago in Flagstaff on the east side, and there was the Indian Meadows fire here. I'm not picking on anybody, but trash fires, please have a hose line out,
Absolutely.
check your wind report. You know, there's some.
Call us.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll let you
right.
know.
Yeah,
When
I,
it's
that's
safer
another
not-
thing, before I burn, I
Safer
always call
not
and
to
say,
burn.
hey, is it a burn day, or,
Yeah.
you know?
And
And
then we
that
know
was
it's-
very impressive, the local response to that fire there in Little. You know, we had people bringing water, we had people bringing tractors, we had people, I mean,
Yeah.
it was amazing. It was really great. It was nice to see everybody jump
Except
in
for the
to help each other.
What's that?
I said except for the DFF.
Oh, gotcha. And we even had some of the local.
I'm not as nice as Greg is, okay? You asked me a question, I'm gonna give you the straight answer, so hopefully I don't offend anybody here.
Yeah.
Appreciate
A few swear words.
Do you have a list of non-emergency phone numbers?
I'd be glad to provide you with that, especially, you know, by your location, but yeah, we can definitely get that out. And I'm hoping there's a clipboard going
There
around.
is everybody that's here saying
Everybody's saying
this?
So my goal is I can type this up if you're willing to share your email address and we kind of maybe continue to communicate if you're willing. But that's something we could get on.
So don't sell your email address.
No, we promised that. It's all secret.
I'll leave my card, just take a picture of it.
Okay.
And it's got all the information, my
Yeah.
direct line, department line.
We're almost done. There are 3 potential solutions for all this, and like you're talking about your card, I've got mine up here, but if you've ever got any questions, feel free to call here to TFD. There's kind of 3 things that we're kicking around, and Chief Trotter's actually got some good answers for us, potential solutions. The way I look at it, just to, you know, I know it's confusing with districts, property tax, and all these different things, but you got 3 choices, the way I see it. You could do nothing, and kind of we keep on doing what we're doing, but I honestly don't think it's sustainable this way. And ultimately, I don't want anybody to die because, or more than one person to die because we couldn't be more proactive. You know, it's people, pets, property, all those things, and you know, like the Indian Meadows was one of the scariest things we've ever had. 650 acres, I think. Anyway, A is to keep it the same. B is the potential to form a fire district. Talk a little bit about how many signatures you need. That's really hard in this area. You need 51%. If that were to pass and get the support, you're looking at about 3% on your property taxes to go up. And I know that's manageable for some people. I know that worries some people.
And one thing to add to that too, the county supervisors will not approve anything less than a $200,000 income revenue from the
Oh.
dot fire district. Okay? Because
Okay,
they don't want a small little
situation.
district where it folds, and they have to step in and take over. So, that's what.
No, that's really important. Yeah.
I kind of hear the conversation coming with help this way. If you guys are based out of how far south?
20.5 miles for you from right here.
Yeah, 193 to here, so 20 miles.
And
So
TFD
you
is
guys are
21
still,
miles.
you're still remote.
Yeah.
So, like, I've got a water truck here. I mean, if you needed help before something got out of control,
Please, I want to get your number before.
You know, I mean-
Part ways.
you know.
But
please,
that's what
what's
happened
good for
when
the
we
goose
had
is
the
good for the
fire at
gander.
the mini
If
storage.
Someone's in distress.
Yeah.
They were there, I called over to Troy, I called over to Willie, you know, Willie had his big tanker truck, he had the other small truck, he came
you.
over.
We
I
don't
think
have big equipment, but in some
And
cases,
we had
just that
backhoe
little
from
bit
him,
extra.
backhoe from Willie,
Good evening, Operator.
Appreciate that.
Second Fire PMP's roll call.
Because that makes or breaks, you know, so thank you. But yeah, let's trade info. And I was gonna say, so out of those 3, there's a third choice, and one is some kind of like a fire brigade, not a fire district, still needs some funding. There's possibilities like maybe sometimes of getting an
How about a phone
engineer.
number you can call when the fire's getting going and can someone bring some water here, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Even if it's not.
So it's kind of a looser, not an official district, but there's
Right.
options. And that's, so I'm done with that, and I'll turn it over to Chief Trotter, but it's just, we wanna help you guys, and part of it is let you guys kind of understand how this all works with, you know, dispatching and the district and the boundaries. We go out in the district, come down and help you guys out, but, and no matter what, our goal is, we don't wanna just wash our hands and come down to Valley. We always wanna help if you got like a house fire or a business fire.
And same thing, if you guys are in Howard Mesa, and you bring a fire truck, and you extinguish all your water,
Yeah.
if 20 minutes later, you call Valle and say, hey, can you send a water truck? I mean, it's only
Right.
2,500 gallons, but it's something.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
we've
but
done a lot of shoveling.
Willie's
between
the
our two
one that
programs.
has the unlimited amount of water, so you.
Yeah,
can
but you have
manage.
to truck it, you've got a bigger truck. It's all guns blazing, right?
It's a huge
Yeah.
factor, yeah.
I mean, forget the districts and what's official, it's like,
Right.
there's a neighbor in distress.
Thank you, yeah. And that's,
Just knowing that we've got the extra water on hand when we are this far away, you know, that's huge. I
Yeah.
think that-
Yeah, it's not like there's hydrants
I
every
know.
half block, I mean.
Right.
But
There was a
Willie
fire
has
a week or
always,
so ago.
always participated.
Okay,
House fire.
right.
And y'all came out and ran out of water and had to just wait for
Sure.
a water truck.
sure,
So, and, I mean, the fire didn't spread, which was good,
good,
but still destroyed more stuff.
yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, the main thing is, if it is a
We're all in
house
the middle of
fire,
no fucking
to
help.
try and stop it from becoming a wildland fire.
Yeah,
Basically, due to the fact that you have limited fire resources out here and vast quantity of land, our goal is to save the foundation and to keep it from spreading and taking.
Keep it from spreading.
That's our main purpose and goal. Yes, if we have a structure fire within 10 miles of a fire station, 90% of the time, we're saving most of the structure as long as it's not fully engulfed. But anything past a 10-mile radius, yeah, we're gonna basically keep it from spreading and do what we can to save what is left. Is
Are there any AEDs in our community?
AEDs?
Yeah, any defibrillators or anything in it?
No.
Tim
Okay, I have one. That's kind of surprising for small businesses. That's something you're talking about, the house numbers. Yeah, like that's something that I think would be really like valuable, even something's like if you guys have access to like a wholesale discount, maybe for CCA to have available for the community. That's something that definitely I'd be willing to contribute to.
Honestly, if somebody can find a website where I can order in bulk, I think.
Yeah, because I have like,
Using
I just got it
environment-
from AZ Government Auctions, mine.
I browsed it, I went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I got
it was like, so
so
hard
it's
to find.
expired, but I mean, like, I'll shock you with it.
Yeah, and AEDs are great, and we started a program there in Tuskegee for businesses. Didn't get much response.
Yeah.
We do have quite a few businesses up there that do have them,
And as a,
but they've got a battery life.
yeah,
They need to be maintained. And we've tried to start that program to where we will go and inspect your AEDs for you to replace the parts
Mhm.
when needed. One of the biggest issues is there's how many different brands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Different versions of the same brand.
So if we could get everybody to get on the same page with the same companies and whatever, but yeah, they're amazing tools.
is anybody at either of your facilities like a stop bleed instructor, certified instructor?
I'm sorry, what instructor?
Like a stop bleed?
Oh, stop the bleed?
Yeah.
Not at TFT.
Okay. Like I've actually, certified instructor have come to me, and I've posted before, but if that's something like community-wise you would host, I've gotten the resources donated of 100 people as well as like whatever the Supreme kit was. We just need the facilities to host the class, and
Oh,
the
sure.
instructors are willing to donate their time as well as an AED instructor.
Now that you bring up training, so TFT is willing to do not officially certified firefighter training, but enough to help out. We do CPR classes up there, and I'm sure you've got a whole slew of things down there, Chief. But there's also the community colleges. We've done first aid. We haven't done stop the bleed, but I think that's something that, if we could get this kind of communication going, we could put out there some of the options. Because yeah, it's confusing. You don't know what you need, or what you can do to kind of get by, what's
Yeah,
cheap.
just-
There's also the CERT training they do for small communities. It's excellent training in the event of an emergency, but it's more kind of global, not first aid directly put out the fire kind of thing, but the sheriff's department does those free of charge usually. So I can get a training list going together. Be short, but just what's feasible, what you can do online, things like that.
Or even if you guys have access to like a commercial discount for the businesses in the area to be able to provide those in their locations, because that'd be an asset for the community and the
Oh, yeah,
business.
absolutely.
Just to have those
I'm
mounted
not
on the wall.
agreeing that we're gonna, sponsor anything, but it's,
I'd be willing
at least
to.
get out some of the different flavors of training that are available. But yeah, great point. And Chief, I'll turn it over to you. I know you're the answer man.
No. My name's Robert, High Country Fire Rescue. The difference between our two departments is we're a 501c3 fire department. That means we don't get any tax money. We don't get any tax money from the county, the state, or federal. We don't even apply for grants due to the fact that we're a 501c3. And take a look at it. Wow. Tucson is a fire district or government entity, and they get all the money. We bring our revenue in from memberships, billing, and donations. That's how we survive. Right now, we took over Junipine Fire District. We're still not a fire district. That just means that Junipine Fire District disbanded their fire department and contract with us to operate out of their station. So we have basically doubled our apparatus capability by this. And then we also contract with the Woods Fire District, which is on the south side of the 405. I-40, bringing back my California roots.
Don't do that. You from SoCal?
Huh?
Are you from Southern California?
Yeah, don't admit that.
So, anyway, well, I've been here for 22 years now, so.
Unifying fire trucks, but that was really you. Okay,
So
got it.
I wanted to bring that point up.
Yeah,
You do
glad
see
you
a
did.
Unified Fire Truck, it's us managing, because they didn't have anybody to volunteer, and the ones they
Yeah, we know that.
did have to volunteer were only sober.
We had a
5%.
great volunteer fire department here for a while.
So, anyway, if you look at your tax bill, it'll say fire district tax, and it's about $15, $10. Everybody who owns property in the state of Arizona pays that tax. Okay, it goes down to the wonderful people in Phoenix, and then they shovel it out to all the fire districts. Okay, for example, Junipine gets about $8,000 of that $350 million thing. So your bigger fire departments, I don't know how much you guys are bringing off of it, but.
We talked about the FDAP monies?
Huh?
FDAP monies?
Yeah. The bigger departments obviously get more money. And that basically is to assist the fire departments for wildland fires. Again, we are not a fire district. We've tried twice. The problem is that the people who own property here that don't live here outnumber the people that live here full time.
They don't wanna pay.
I send out petitions all throughout the United States, in Europe, and in Asia, because there's about 70 properties down south that are owned by a Chinese company. Anyway, they outnumber you. So I mailed out, this last time we tried it about 5 years ago, I mailed out 750 petitions. I got 7 back. Now, for the people who live here, I got 92% people signing, but I have to get 51%, well, 50 plus 1% of the people signing a petition in favor of the tax district. So without the people who don't live here signing the petition, I can't get it. I tried twice. So last year, I wrote a bill down to the House of Representatives, it passed completely. And it was an amendment to the law of how to form a fire district. And basically it gives the county the authority to have me map out the fire district and you people vote on it, yes or no. Okay, if you vote yes, and I get 60% of you to vote yes, you become a fire district. Okay, if I don't get 60% of you guys, I don't get a fire district. Now I got a spare one, I thought Miranda might want it, so, but she had passed it out. I got a map of the proposed fire district that we were trying to get, that we tried to get last year. Unfortunately, the Arizona Fire District Association was supporting us. The day we were driving down the 17, we were about an hour out from Phoenix. I get a phone call saying the Arizona Fire District Association went from supporting you to opposing you. Okay, that meant Woody Rogers pulled out of it, and another senator who did not get reelected pulled out. And so all the Republicans pulled out of it, which left the Democrats. Well, then when I got there, I was talking to the Democrats, they really didn't want to do it. They wanted a bipartisan vote, and so they all pulled out of it. So basically, we were put on hold and told to try again next year.
That was a valiant effort what you did, Ed.
So, anyway,
What was that council?
2030, it's gonna be a different number this year. Right. Now, depending on what you all want, is this map includes Valley area. It goes down to 180 to mile marker. I gotta take my man's glasses on. Down to mile marker 247 and up 64 to mile marker 240 or 224, and then about 10 to 15 miles on either side of 64. With this, if we become a fire district, I already have land promised me in actually 3 locations for a fire station up here. With the income from this fire district, I can have a full-time, paid, 24/7, 365 fire engine up here.
I vote yes.
Not so fast. Yes, your property taxes will probably go up depending on the value of your home. But if you look at your tax return or your tax bill, look at what your value is on your secondary tax bill. Multiply it by 0.028, and that'll basically tell you how much taxes you're gonna pay. And depending on the value of your home, it's either $300 to $500 a year. Now, I charge for a membership $300 a year. For a 501c3, it's tax deductible because we call it a donor membership. So you can take it off on your taxes as a donation. After the first of the year, it's going up to $500. But whoever has a $300 membership is going to stay at $300. Because until this last election, we were getting hammered by taxes, insurance, and everything else. Because I don't know about fire districts, I have to pay taxes on my fire department.
We
Okay.
do for the station.
Huh?
We do for the land.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just here to find out if you want to be a part of that. And if you do, and if Miranda agrees, I'm going to try and get petitions out for you people, just to say that you're in favor of this, so I can go down there and with 500 or 800 or 1,000 signatures from the people who live here, not the people who live in Tennessee or New York or in China or in England. Right now, they're dictating your fire protection. They don't live here.
They don't give a shit, yeah.
They don't give a shit. So what this bill that we wrote basically states the people who live here, who own property, vote, yes or no. And it's gonna be a simple ballot. Do you wanna have a fire district by High Country Fire Rescue? Yes or no? I get 60% of everybody to vote yes. We become a fire district. I'll have a fire station. Well, I'd say a year, but probably most likely a year and a half to build up here with an engine.
Do you happen to know the number of people who live here that fit those characteristics you just said?
I do not.
Do you know how we could get that information?
Through the county board of not the county board of supervisors, the assessor's office is, I'm working on, I have a list of everybody in the proposed district who own property and their addresses here and their addresses elsewhere if they own it. There's I think, the last time I looked at it was over a year ago. I think there was like 70,000 lots in this proposed district. Okay?
What about the voter
60.
rolls?
Hmm?
Voter rolls will give you the best idea of how many people would vote. And if that would hit your 60%.
I just have to get, not 60% of the people that own property here, 60% of you voting yes. So if I
That
get,
live here.
that live here.
Are you talking people registered to vote here?
Pardon?
60% of the people registered.
Registered to vote here.
Right,
In the
they own
proposed-
property or not?
Correct.
Who
What
actually
if they
votes
live
in
here
that
but aren't
election?
registered to
Mhm.
vote?
Pardon?
Who actually
They won't be
votes
on
in that
ballots?
election?
Yes.
Correct. So,
If you're a registered voter and you rent, you're still allowed to vote
Right.
on this.
but yeah, voted, yeah. So you have 30% voter turnout, you're gonna get 15% plus
Yes.
of the people.
So, yeah, if I get 100 people that vote and 60% of them vote yes, then we become a fire district.
So if you get this fire district,
If I can get my
if
legislation.
you get that, what does that bring to your coffers?
I'm sorry?
If you get that 60%, what does that bring to your revenue stream?
My revenue for this district will be $1.7 million
Versus,
versus I operate my fire department on $50,000 a year.
so it's what you're saying.
Okay. I'm more frugal than government agencies. I don't want to say anything bad about fire districts and stuff, but,
Troy Morris.
we're more frugal. Okay, I do pay my guys per call, but I have to follow the 20% federal guidelines, which means I can't pay them more than 10% of what a firefighter would make on a call. So they basically make $10 on an EMS call and $20 no matter how long they stay. Basically, what they're making is coverage for their gas to respond to the station, for the time for training and everything else. But again, I'm just here to see if you guys wanna be a part of this. If so, then I'm gonna get on my hands and knees and beg Miss Miranda to help me out for this area to get some petitions signed. I do have, you know Debbie Grossman? I have Debbie Grossman helping me and a couple of people from South Range to get this area to sign petitions so I can plop them in front of the House and the Senate and say, my goal is 800. If I can get 1,000, I'll be dancing in front of the legislature.
And if you get this, when would the election be?
Pardon?
And if you get this
If I
signature?
get this approved, if it goes through the House and the Senate, and the governor signs it, there's 4 dates in the state of Arizona that we hold. And I think we could probably get it onto a year, August? Don't quote me. A July or August ballot, if not, then it'd have to be in November. Because there's one in March, June, August, November. I think
And when do you need the signatures by?
I'll need the signatures probably by the second week of January.
And they have to be a registered voter that lives in Valle.
A registered voter that lives in. Actually, it doesn't have to be because it's not an official petition, it's just something that basically I have a sample
Right.
of the thing. It's plain and simple. If you live here, you can sign the petition,
Whether you're a registered voter.
voter or not.
I think that's important, because you might get 20% that
Yeah.
aren't registered.
It just says, I write your name, support the efforts of
Residing.
High Country Fire Rescues, amending section 48-261 Arizona Revised Statutes.
All right, don't get
amending
hung up on
blah,
the
blah, blah, blah.
registered, Miranda.
And so, yeah,
You saw
so once I get this
it. I know you're from
by our
Arkansas,
attorney,
you're going down 64 and sign
I'm
it.
gonna give it out and have people sign it. All I'm looking for is support.
Right.
The people who live here support. That was their big thing when I was in front of the, House of Representatives and made an ass out of myself. Because they kept drilling me, how many people, how many people, how many people, how many people. And I'm like, I don't know. We've got, yeah, we've got about probably 1,500, if not 1,800 permanent residents that out here. But you're looking at 70,000 lots, so you do the math, how many people are outnumbered that.
It's a small percentage.
Yeah, so, and again, if you know me, I get upset and didn't really treat the House of Representative guy who's drilling me. But he voted yes, so, and it went, like I said, unanimous. It was only, held up by 2 votes who people were absent. So it passed the House with flying colors. And I'm pretty sure this year, if I can get the petitions, get Wendy Rogers on board, which I've got a meeting with her in a couple of weeks, after Thanksgiving. She'll be on board.
And then what would happen to the 501c3 if the fire district is
Then,
approved?
okay, we become a fire district. Okay, this whole entire area becomes a fire district. We will contract, fire department will contract with the fire district for fire protection for 10 years. Now, I'm doing this because if you're a government entity, okay, and to build a fire station, to do all these wonderful things, you have a lot more restrictions on them than they do us. Okay, I have to go, I'm a government entity, and I wanna build a fire station here, I gotta get 3 bids. And it goes to the lower bidder. Okay, I want a fire engine to put in that fire station, I have to go out to 3 fire companies that make fire engines and get 3 bids. And even though I want this fire engine here by this company was cheaper, I gotta go with this fire engine. Okay? That's the stupidity of the government. All right? I've worked for the government half of my life. Trust me, the government is stupid. So, thought process is we contract with the fire district, just like I contract with Junipine Fire District and the Woods Fire District for fire and EMS coverage. Then in 10 years, when I have a fire station up here, I got 1 or 2 fire engines in here, and I got 4 or 5, 6 people paid full time. Same thing down in the woods, same thing at our main station. Then, in 10 years, the fire station automatically becomes the property of the fire district. And then you'll have to deal with whoever's in charge, because I'm retired.
She'll be retired.
My goal is to get this passed, get a fire station up here, and a fire station down there in Woods, and our station. I have 3 stations, well, 4, including Junipine. I have 4 stations with full-time fire people and full-time man apparatus. Be it a type 3 or type, probably a type 3, because of the roads. But then I'm obligated, you call 911, because you're in the fire district, to come. Right now, I come out, Tucson calls me to back them up on a structure fire. I come down the road and go, there's no way in hell I'm sending my $300,000 fire engine down this dirt road, because it's gonna break, and then I'm gonna have nothing, because I don't have a tax income coming in to go out and buy me my fire engine or repair one. So I have to baby the ones I have. The only thing that I probably can guarantee at this time is a Type 6, which is a small 300-gallon, truck with skid, okay, to where he's gonna throw 300 gallons of water and then come out to the main road where my big fire engine is parked, get a bunch of water, and then go back and pump the water. Or like the fire off of Woodland Ranch Road, that was really crappy, and I told your poor captain, I said, I ain't sending my fire engine down this road, I'll send my tender.
That's understandable. And I gotta say,
I've already lost on Woodland Ranch Road 2 years after we started in 2008, so 2010, I lost a tender. It completely broke the axle. It was at night and it had just rained. It was a lightning strike. It just rained and the guy went through what he thought was a puddle, but it was a big hole in the ground the size of the VW Bug on Woodland Ranch Road, and busted out the axle.
and I wanna give you a shout out, anytime we've had a fire here, whether it's wildland, lightning strike, building, car, High Country has gone out of the way to support us.
And vice versa. If we get the call, we ask them to come out. But again, I don't have a continuous income like taxes. I have to base my yearly budget on memberships that we get, contracts, and billing. Yes, ma'am.
Could getting the fire district, could you help improve the roads to help?
Most definitely. Okay, we're not gonna go out and plow
The big
and dump
hole.
cinders,
Any-
but,
avoid the big holes.
my goal is to have some kind of, and I'm not insulting anybody in here because I'm stupid, some kind of blade, dozer thing that we park at High Country Fire, main station, Station 10, that will plow snow, fill up big holes with whatever dirt is there, and have like a part-time
That can't be full-time.
Yeah.
guy that would do something. But again, I'm generating, instead of $60,000 a year, I'm generating 1.7 million. So I can do stuff like that to help out the community better. And then plus, like I said, full-time fire. And that's where,
Create jobs.
that's where 70% of fire department budgets go. I don't know about you. Salary is the main thing. Because basically, to man a 3-man engine with 3 paid guys is about almost $400,000 a year if you factor in medical insurance, vacation time. So, and then plus it, don't steal any of my ideas.
No, you run with it.
My philosophy is I have what we call frats, Flagstaff Retention and Training Program. We got kids that want to be firemen. They're obviously 18 years old and older, going through EMT course, Fire 1 and 2 training and stuff like that want to be firemen. So I can hire 15, 20 of those kids instead of paying them what he probably gets paid for Flagstaff or Phoenix Fire or LA County Fire. I start them out cheap, train them, and then go, okay, you've been trained, you've been here a couple, 3 years, you wanna make the big bucks, go to Phoenix, go here, go there, and just use our fire department as a rotating door of new kids coming in, training them, and then sending them, paying them cheap.
Would you be open to creating a job opportunity for someone who is out there then?
Oh, God, yes. My whole big thing is to train to get somebody who wants to be a firefighter, train them, send them through fire 1 and 2, because I can still hire anybody I want, but send them, you know, pay them and send them through fire 1 and 2 to college, get them certified, and then bring them back and make them into firefighters, and make them full time. Yeah, basically your captains for each of the engines would be people who are just the firefighters are the ones who are gonna pay cheap. If they wanna stay, yeah, we'll boot them up, but, you know, basically use it as a rotating door, so we're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for somebody to sit over here and twiddle his thumb between calls. But no, definitely, once we get to this point, yeah, flyers will go. If you wanna be a firefighter, come see us, we'll do the interview process, fingerprints, make sure you're not a one and fill, and, make you into a firefighter.
In the meantime, can we become members while this process is going
In the
on?
meantime, you could become.
Valley
members.
people can
Now,
become
part of that membership is me coming out and driving down your road. If you have that Volkswagen sized pothole right before your house, then I'm gonna say, fill the hole, then I'll sign the contract with you.
I fill the holes in my road.
You fill the holes?
I'm the one in the neighborhood that does that.
That does it, so yes, you can join up, and have a membership. Then, because what we do is, we put it in the CAD system, which is related to the 911 CAD system, through Guardian. We list everybody that's up here, like Valle Park, the Domes, South Rim Ranch, all of South Rim Ranch, they're all in the 911 system as High Country Fire Rescue. So our dispatch knows we're gonna dispatch High Country Fire. If it doesn't say High Country Fire, then they call me. And he comes out and calls me. I just can't get around. But, no. Yeah, you can join up. Just, if you have email, just email me.
I will.
Name, address, we'll send you a little form to fill out. What we can and cannot do, all that good stuff. And basically, all that states is, we're a volunteer fire department. We might have 15 people, we might have 2.
No, I totally understood. I just want to help because you guys obviously doing great work and
Because right now, if you include me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 2 frats, so I've got 9 people. 1, 2. Obviously, they're at home, and the frats are gonna take a while to come from Flagstaff, but, I've got 7 people ready to go. So,
what determines whether a medical emergency requires an ambulance or a helo?
depending on the condition of the patient. A lot of times, if we're coming up here, we'll put, this native 14 is stationed at Williams, okay, the city of Williams, instead of Guardian. We'll put native 14 on standby, which means they can't go on another call until we get here. If it's like a chest pain call and they're telling us the patient's diaphoretic, white, pale, you know, grasping his chest, radiates to his arm and to his jaw, then we know most likely this person's having a heart attack, and we'll fly them, because it's, you know, 5-minute flight compared to 25-minute drive.
How long does it take for the helo to be dispatched?
Well, from Williams, it only takes them 3 minutes to get here, flying. I put them, we had a 7-year-old with some kind of cardiac heart condition. Because during the day, we're usually at the fire station, everybody. But at night, obviously, they're not getting paid, so they go home. As I'm pulling out my driveway, I'm telling my dispatch what native 22 on standby. And they,
great job, I think.
yeah, and they went, yeah, we're not gonna said, we're just gonna fly a circle around this. It was a 1.5-minute flight from where they're at to where the call was. So they just circled up ahead or above and went out, shut down Highway 64, landed over there, loaded the kid, and we went to Children's Hospital in Phoenix.
What's the charge for the Hilo? Is there a membership we can pay
There's
for
a
that?
membership for, and that's the problem for you all up here, is everything north of Mount Marker 207 off of Highway 64 is what's called a shared seal. So Guardian and Lifeline both have the state's approval to respond to calls in your area. Okay, and on top of all of that, Priority Ambulance is now putting in for the shared seal up here too. So you'll have 3 different ambulance companies, plus you have 2 major air companies that can come. So where I'm at, Lifeline has a membership. I pay them $50 a year, covers my wife and myself. They don't charge me anything. They take the insurance as payment in full. Okay, but with the helicopter company, you got to do with each helicopter company. And I can set up a meeting with Native and Guardian and do another community meeting if you want, and they can, and with the Lifeline and Guardian ambulance, they can do a presentation. I don't know, does Guardian have that?
The membership?
The membership thing?
I don't know that they do. Yeah.
And one last question on the Hilo. Do they prefer GPS coordinates? And if so, also what can we do on our properties to make
Normally,
it Hilo
We're
friendly?
just gonna land them here at the airport, the ambulance is gonna transport
I see.
the patient. I mean, if you're way, way out there, yeah, those are coordinates.
Years ago,
But-
we had one land just out in front of your motorcycle versus car, but whoever's responding is gonna take care of that.
Yeah,
But the Hilo is not gonna go to the property, it's just gonna come here.
Usually not. Yeah.
usually not. I mean, if you're far down on Highway 180 or far up on, 64, I have no problems. DPS doesn't have a problem, the sheriff doesn't have a problem. We just shut down Highway 64 or 180, land the helicopter there, keep it shut down until we load the patient.
Are there any requirements for the helicopter as far as area to land? Like there's some big,
It's
there's some
100
big intersections off of Woodland Branch.
Yeah, it's 100 feet by 100 feet.
Well, that would,
And if it's dirt, it has to be wet down, because you don't want brown.
Right.
And then if it's a field, we have to walk the field for the helicopters in, make sure there's no branches or anything that's gonna fly out, hit the road.
there's a landing strip up off of Woodland Ranch. It's private, it's just the guy that lives out there has a plane.